my gosh, where does this power come from? Does it come from his hair?
Hold it down, hold it down, hold it down. Holy Spirit, we welcome you. Move like the breeze, settle like rain. We are open now. There is no feeling like it's cold. There is no feeling like it's cold. Rain down, rain down, rain down, rain down, rain down.
Hey, everybody. So that is one of my newest songs. It's called Call It Down. And I want to talk a little bit about that before we get into our abundance ritual today. So we are getting ready to uh, go into day 18 in our 40-day journey. But what was the purpose behind that song? The song, so as everybody know, I'm a preacher's kid. I grew up in the church. Uh, I grew up serving in the all I won't say all different types of Christian churches, but most of my family is Kojic. Most of my family is all Kojic. And then we have some Baptists, and then some of them are Catholic. It just depends on where they moved, but most of them are still Christian. So, that being said, I've always heard certain stories growing up, and one story that stood out to me specifically was the story of Samson. So Samson, um, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, where does this power come from? Does it come from his hair? And look, bear with me because I know a lot of people that we're in presence. We are in presence. We are not in performance. What most people don't know about me is I'm probably way more animated behind closed doors. I'm very bubbly. Um, so if you see me become a little bit more animated, whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo, right? Because we're not in performance presence, so whoop-de-doo. Say what I said. But Samson, everybody want to know, where does his power come from? All of his enemies, everybody's searching, where does his power come from? And then as you continue to read, he falls in love with Delilah, and Delilah, she like, oh, you bad. Oh, you fine. Your hair, everybody just like, you got it like that, Samson. Do you love me, Samson? Because if you love me, I know you would share your secret with me, right? Right? So he was like, yeah, girl, I love you. It's the hair. My hair, it's the hair. That's what Samson told her. But for me, no, that's not my case. I don't want nobody trying to sneak around and like I was trying to say, cut a big hair off. I don't want nobody's, that ain't the case because I've shaved my hair before. I got pictures on my Facebook. I was bald. I was. Because I remember I got to a point where I said, I don't want my beauty to just come from what's growing out of my head. I want my beauty to be on the inside. So let's get back to Samson, right? Let's just get back to Samson. So Samson told the people, she didn't cut his hair off, because she wasn't about that life for real. Anyway, she wasn't about that life for real. She basically, did her job. She was like, oh, it's my job to go in there and get him. She did it, right? Went to the enemies. I didn't cut his hair off. He in there, do what you gotta do. That's what happened. And oh, I'm gonna say it because I just heard it. I don't know who it was, but I'm gonna say it. And a whoop-de-doo. Don't know why, but I heard, yep, and a whoop-de-doo. Make sure you say that, and a whoop-de-doo. But yeah, Samson's power came from his faith and belief in God. And so you have all these different cultures that have all these different personalities and personifications and idols, and they have all these different things to be able to anchor their faith in this physical form in order to focus on it, hone it, and improve it. It's supposed to be the purpose of that, right? But Samson worshiped an invisible God. And so, when most people say, oh, I worship an invisible God, when they hear that, they think, oh, this person's crazy. They're quick to do that. My goodness. quick to call somebody crazy. And then you stigmatize all these people who start to believe there's no help out there because ain't nobody really listening. But anyway, that ain't why we're here. That ain't why that's not. It's January 20th. It is January 20th at the time I'm recording this, so y'all bear with me. If you know anything about astrology, you know January 20th. A lot of people are consciously being pulled and shifted forward. So you're getting a little bit of that energy today, right? Right. Why? Because I was taught that a Proverbs 31 woman works in the home. She sees about her household. So anyway, I digress a little bit. Samson got into a situation where his enemies, they took his hair, took his strength, they even took his eyesight. They took his eyes, berated him in the street. We got him. Oh, he's so strong. Oh, his God is so powerful. Look at him. They literally had this man between two pillars at a banquet hall so they can celebrate his destruction. They thought, oh, we got his power. He's nothing. Nothing to a mouse. Took him out. What did he do now? He wasn't doing nothing, right? This is how they were eating and celebrating as he was just there. No eyes, no hair, abused, beaten. And he said inside of himself, he said inside of himself, he said, Most High God. Most High God, if you are with me, give me your strength one more time. Mm. Give me your strength one more time that as my enemies take me out, allow them to go with me. Allow them to go out with me. So then in that moment, the presence of God, the Spirit of God descended and empowered, because there has to be a connection. There has to be a spiritual connection. You can't just call down power without knowing that power is also in the inside. So the presence of God descended and connected to the power that was inside of Samson, to where he found the supernatural strength to push down both pillars, so that as they were celebrating and eating and about to kill him and take him out, God heard his prayer. He called down the power of God from heaven, took out the pillars, and took his enemies with him, which was his prayer. So when I meet people, I used, yeah, I mean, if you've been following my journey on TikTok, Facebook, y'all know I was one of them. I was one of a lot of them because in my own personal journey, I didn't want to believe just because everybody else believed. I'm an Aquarius. I didn't want to believe just because everybody else believed. I'm an Aquarius. Let's look. Let's get to this abundance ritual because it's a reason that I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it. It's a reason that I'm still recording, even if it says no views, 1 views, 2 views. There's a reason. So let's go. We got to record for day 21. And if you know anything about astrology, it doesn't matter if it's Western astrology, Vedic astrology, sidereal astrology. It don't matter Chinese astrology. It don't matter which astrology you use. You know these next 3 days is going to dramatically change everybody in consciousness, in spirit, in mind, in thinking. All right. Like I said, there's a reason. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Look at me looking for the book. Like I already put it on here. All right, let's screen share here. Screen share. Oh, and it changed my. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So let's get it going for day 21. And I'm not gonna edit. No. Why? Because there's so much that's about the shift. Performance is out. Now, if y'all shocked that I'm way more animated behind closed doors, then you probably just as shocked that I'm done hiding and doing it, right? Let's go. This day, day 21, Jan this day, January 21st, 2026, I cease believing in visible money as my supply and my support, and I view the world of effect as it truly is, simply an outpicturing of my former beliefs. I believed in the power of money. Therefore, I surrendered my God-given power and authority to an objectified belief. I believed in the possibility of lack, thus causing a separation in consciousness from the source of my supply. I believed in mortal man and carnal conditions, and through this faith gave man and conditions power over me. I believed in the mortal illusion created by the collective consciousness of error thoughts. And in doing so, I have limited the unlimited, no more. This day I renounce my so-called humanhood and claim my divine inheritance as a being of God. This day I acknowledge God and only God as my substance, my supply, and my support. With this, saying this abundance ritual every day, we also say this along with a principle statement. Now, with this principle statement, this is what we're doing is we're bringing more awareness to our conscious mind so that we can tell our subconscious mind the type of life and experiences we would rather live. Now, for some, they go back and forth and they want to debate, oh, well, is this carnal or is this spiritual? But if you actually read the Bible, you know that you're not supposed to be so carnally, you're not supposed to be too carnal or too spiritual, or you become no earthly good. You were supposed to anchor that spirituality back onto the planet so that it can serve as structure, empowerment, and inspiration for others. So with acknowledging the conscious mind, to me, it does not take away from structural teaching. So let's get right into that principle. The principle we're going to do now is principle 5. It says, money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the all-providing activity of the divine. I'm saying that part again. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the all-providing activity of the divine within me is my supply. My consciousness of this truth is unlimited. Therefore, my supply is unlimited. Let's take a breath. We're going to read that one again. Yes, we are. Money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the all-providing activity of the divine mind within me is my supply. My consciousness of this truth is unlimited, and therefore my supply is unlimited. So as we were just talking about, Samson, right? Everybody wanted to know, where did his supply come from? Where did Samson's supply come from? Was it in his hair? Was it in his friends? Was it in his family? Was it in his strength? What made Samson keep doing what he was doing? what kept Samson going when things just kept happening in life, and life was lifing, as people say. Life was lifing. Samson's life was lifing it up, wasn't it? It was definitely lifing it up. And where did his power come from? He said, God, with no eyes, no hair, nobody to have his back. He said, God, if it be your will. He called down the power of God one last time. Why? Just to anchor in his faith. Oh my gosh, they talk about faith. Hebrews 11. Hebrews chapter 11. Hebrews chapter 11 and 1 says, was the substance. Hold on. Don't make me pull it out. Faith, I wasn't prepared to say this. This is just happening. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith means that I am believing something to happen that I don't yet see right now. But faith is knowing that if I keep pushing towards my growth, my healing, my awareness, if I keep knocking for God, God's going to come to me. And so in the story of Samson, Samson had the faith that even though his hair was gone, which means his covenant was broken, self-betrayal. I'm gonna have to stop recording. Self-betrayal. Why? Because they said, oh, she loved me. She cared about me. She got me, and she bad. She fine in a mug. I'm gonna go and tell her my secret, even though the secret at the time was carnal, because I have this covenant with God, that was my power. That was my strength. That is where I came from. But inside, he knew that he connected to God in a way that he can command through faith and through his consciousness that if God give me power one last time, don't just let me be taken out, but let me take out my enemies with me, because that is the faith that I have, that even if they take my hair, even if they take my friends, even if they take my family, that there's a power, a substance on the inside that will contain me and keep me going. No matter how many times I fall, it's going to lift me back up because it's still there. And it's something that nobody can take away from you. Hebrews 11 says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Yet here we are doing this abundance ritual. Why? Because we are reminding our higher mind and consciousness that it is through this faith that we call forth things that are not seen. So we're gonna go into the statement principle just one last time, but then I'm gonna go ahead and quit. We're gonna end for today because this is not what I thought was gonna happen. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. It's not faith if you already got the evidence now. Faith is what you're working towards. Faith is what you're building. Faith is what you're calling in your life. Faith, faith. Call it down. It doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter what change or what shifts take place. Remember who you are, whose you are, and call it down. Oh, let's read this principle one more time. One more time. Let's read this principle one more time. It says, money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the all-providing activity of the divine mind within me is my supply. My consciousness of this truth is unlimited. Therefore, my supply is unlimited. Hebrews 11. Hebrews 11 and 1. Faith, 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 just a little more faith. Faith, 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 just a little more faith. Hey, you can make me doubt him. I know too much about him. That is why I love him so. He's so real to me. Call it down. Call it down. Call it down. Call it down. Thank you for joining me. This is day 18.